welcome to the deep dive.
Glad to be digging into this one.
Today, we're cutting through some of the management theory noise. We're focusing on a philosophy really built for efficiency, the one-minute manager.
Yeah, and specifically, we'll be drawing on Robert Lorber's work, his book, Putting the One-Minute Manager to Work.
Right. He really takes those foundational ideas from Blanchard and Johnson.
And gives them, well, a practical roadmap, doesn't he? How to actually implement them.
And his background, organizational behavior, performance management,
Yeah.
gives him a pretty unique perspective on making these principles stick.
Absolutely. So our goal with this deep dive isn't just a quick summary.
No.
We really want to pull out the actionable core of this philosophy. We want to give you a real sense of how it can genuinely drive productivity, boost engagement.
And foster growth.
Yeah.
All while respecting everyone's time, which is key.
It's the most valuable resource, right? So think of this as your, let's say, accelerated path to understanding these techniques.
And we're going straight to the source material for that, excerpts from Lorber's book.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's dive in. The central idea, fundamentally, is that effective leadership doesn't have to be super time-consuming or, overly complex.
It can be focused, it can be efficient, and that ends up benefiting everyone, the manager, the team.
Yeah.
And what's really elegant, I think, is how it boils down to 3 core principles.
The famous 3, right?
1-minute goal setting, 1-minute praising, and 1-minute reprimands.
They sound catchy, but they're more than that.
Much more. They represent a streamlined system. It's about ensuring clarity, giving timely feedback, and importantly, fostering that connection, that understanding between managers and their teams.
Making the most impact with focused effort.
You got it.
And it seems really versatile. I mean, it's not just for, say, tech companies or massive corporations, is it?
That's a huge strength Lorber highlights, the adaptability.
Okay.
Whether you're leading a tiny startup team or navigating a huge multinational, these core ideas, clear goals, immediate positive feedback, concise correction, they can be tailored.
They fit different contexts, different cultures.
Exactly.
So fundamentally, we're talking about tackling that constant feeling of not enough time.
Yeah, that pressure is real.
By prioritizing clear communication, effective action. This philosophy helps us hit organizational goals without feeling constantly buried.
It's about smart management, really, especially now things move so fast.
Recognizing time is finite and focusing on what gives the best return, clarity, motivation, performance.
Precisely. You're maximizing your managerial leverage, so to speak.
Okay, let's zero in on that first one then. 1-minute goal setting. This feels like the bedrock, doesn't it?
It really is foundational. Everything else kind of builds on this. It's about setting objectives efficiently, but also impactfully.
And the core idea is simple, but powerful.
Very. A goal should be written down concisely. Lorber suggests 250 words or less.
So you can read it, grasp it in about a minute.
Exactly. And that brevity isn't about simplifying the goal itself necessarily, but ensuring the core message is crystal clear, easy to remember, stays top of mind.
Alignment becomes easier when everyone knows the target.
Much easier.
So how do you actually create these? It's not just the manager dashing something off, right?
Oh, absolutely not. That would miss the point. It needs to be collaborative.
Okay.
Manager and employee working together. Identifying those key priorities first.
Making sure they link up to the bigger picture, the organizational goals.
Right. Then you articulate each goal simply, unambiguously, specific enough for direction.
But maybe flexible enough for changes.
Exactly. Things shift. And while that 250-word core statement is key for recall,
Right.
it doesn't mean you can't have supporting details or further conversations for more complex goals. It's the digestible summary that matters for the 1-minute part.
And these goals, they aren't set in stone, are they? You don't just set and forget.
Definitely not. Regular review is vital. Adjustment, too.
Oh, but
Lorber really pushes for weekly check-ins, ideally.
weekly. Okay.
Yeah, it lets you track progress, spot obstacles early, make those necessary tweaks. It keeps the goals relevant, keeps them useful. It's an ongoing conversation.
So it's like a shared map that gets updated. Makes sense. And knowing exactly what you're aiming for, that's how to boost productivity.
Naturally. And achieving those clear goals brings that sense of accomplishment, which is hugely motivating.
Right.
And that flexibility we mentioned, that's crucial today. Teams need to be agile.
Yeah.
1-minute goal setting lets you pivot when needed, but without losing sight of the long-term aims. Focus plus agility.
Okay, good stuff. Let's pivot ourselves now to feedback. Crucial part of management. Let's talk 1-minute praising.
Right. This one sounds pretty intuitive.
Catch people doing good work. Tell them quickly.
That's the essence. Immediate, specific, positive feedback. The goal is to reinforce those good behaviors, give a motivational nudge, lift morale.
Which all leads to better performance.
Exactly. That immediate feedback creates a reinforcement loop, makes the good behavior more likely to happen again, like a little positive jolt.
Why is the immediacy so important, though? Does praise really lose value if it comes, say, at the end of the week?
It's about the connection. The immediacy creates a really clear link in the employee's mind. I did this specific thing, and I got this positive recognition right away.
Ah, okay. Less ambiguity.
Precisely. They know exactly what they did well, so they're more likely to repeat it. You capitalize on that moment of achievement.
Can you walk us through an example? How would a manager do this effectively?
Sure. Let's say an employee figures out a way to streamline some workflow, makes things way more efficient.
Okay.
A manager using this technique would go to them pretty quickly after noticing it. They'd say something like, "Hey, I saw that new process you put in place for the reports.
Specific.
It's really saving the team a lot of time, improved our efficiency significantly. Your initiative there, identifying that bottleneck and fixing it, that's exactly what we need. Great job."
So, immediate, specific about the action, specific about the positive impact, and conveys appreciation.
You nailed it.
And psychologically, what's the impact? It's more than just feeling good for a second.
Oh, much more. When people get that kind of specific, timely praise, they feel genuinely seen, valued.
Right.
That boosts self-esteem, confidence, leads to more motivation, stronger commitment. It fuels that positive cycle. Feeling appreciated makes you want to do more positive things.
So it's not just feel good, it's actively cultivating continuous improvement by encouraging more of what works.
Precisely. And think about the culture it builds.
Yeah.
When managers consistently do this, it creates an environment where good work is noticed, it's valued, people feel more invested.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Now, the flip side, the trickier part of feedback, dealing with performance issues, 1-minute reprimands.
Yes, this is pivotal, and maybe the one people are most hesitant about.
Understandably.
But it's crucial for a balanced, productive environment. The idea is immediate corrective feedback, done concisely, focusing only on the behavior.
Not the person.
Critically, not the person, not their character, not their overall ability, just the specific action that needs to change. The goal is improvement, not demoralization.
So what are the key steps? How do you deliver this effectively?
Okay, several crucial steps. First, like praise, timing matters. Address it ASAP after you see the behavior.
So it's fresh in their mind. Context is clear.
Exactly. Second, be very specific about what was done incorrectly. No vague stuff like, you need to improve your attitude. It's, when you did X, that wasn't the correct procedure.
Crystal clear on the behavior.
Third, explain the impact. How did that specific behavior affect the team, the project, the organization?
Gives it context, significance, helps them understand why it matters.
Right. Without that, it can feel arbitrary.
Okay, makes sense. What comes next?
After stating the issue and its impact, Lorber suggests a brief pause, just a few seconds of silence.
Why the pause?
It lets the information sink in. It also conveys seriousness without, yelling or getting emotional. It's a moment for reflection.
Interesting. And then?
And this is absolutely vital. You reaffirm your confidence in their overall abilities. You end on a positive, forward-looking note.
So something like, this specific thing wasn't right, but I know you're capable, and I trust you'll get it right next time.
Exactly that kind of sentiment. You emphasize it was about that behavior, and you believe they can improve. It preserves motivation, avoids making it personal.
It feels like this only works, or works best, if it's balanced with the 1-minute praising.
Absolutely essential. You can't only be catching mistakes.
People would just feel constantly criticized.
Right. Consistent, specific praise builds trust. It shows their good work is also seen and valued. That balance is key. It means corrective feedback is seen as part of development, not just punishment.
So this combination, swift praise, focused correction, it normalizes feedback. Makes it part of the regular culture, not some big scary event.
Precisely. It fosters an environment where people feel supported even when being corrected. They know the intention is growth, helping them succeed.
Builds accountability, leads to better performance, more engagement, because the focus stays on behavior and impact.
You've got it. That transparent, continuous dialogue is powerful.
Okay, we understand the techniques now. Goals, praise, reprimands. How do you actually weave these into the day-to-day grind of managing? It can't just be random, right?
No, you're absolutely right. Embedding these takes conscious effort, a deliberate strategy. It needs to become part of the work culture.
So consistency is key again.
Foundational. Managers need to practice these regularly. 1-minute goal setting, praising, reprimands. Some managers even find it helpful to block tiny bits of time in their calendar, just as reminders.
Make it habitual.
Yeah, until it becomes second nature.
Let's break that down. How would a manager integrate 1-minute goal setting into their routine?
Well, a practical start is initiating any new project or task discussion by defining the outcome in that concise 1-minute format. Here's the core goal, readable in 60 seconds.
Sets the stage immediately.
Exactly. And then that weekly check-in we talked about, dedicating just a few minutes each week to review progress, adjust if needed, keeps things aligned, responsive.
Okay, and 1-minute praising. How does that become regular without feeling forced or, fake?
Authenticity is crucial. It should ideally be frequent, even spontaneous.
Spotting opportunities.
Right. You see good work, a great effort, a successful outcome. Acknowledge it then and there. Be specific about what you saw and why it was good.
So someone handles a tricky client call really well.
You praise their specific problem-solving skills, their professionalism, right after the call. That immediate link reinforces it powerfully, boosts morale instantly. It's about being present, noticing.
Right, okay. And integrating the reprimands. That needs careful handling, maybe a bit more structured.
Timeliness is still key, but yes, approach it thoughtfully. Address the issue promptly to stop bad habits forming. Be precise about the behavior, its impact.
And then always follow up with.
That reaffirmation of confidence, I know you can fix this. That balance is critical. It's corrective, but supportive, focused on growth.
It really sounds like managers need to, walk the talk. Lead by example.
Absolutely critical. They have to model these behaviors consistently, how they set expectations, how they give feedback.
Sharing their own experiences, too.
Yeah, sharing successes, maybe even challenges they had applying it. That transparency builds trust, encourages teams to embrace it. And of course, formal training helps.
Workshops, maybe,
Yeah.
to get everyone on the same page.
Definitely. Training sessions ensure everyone understands the why and the how, creates a common language.
So regular use builds accountability, continuous improvement, all through these brief, impactful interactions.
That's the goal. Embedding these techniques creates a culture that's proactive, supportive, highly effective. Better communication, smoother processes, better performance, happier people.
Now, realistically, introducing any new system, you're going to hit some resistance, right?
Almost inevitably, yes.
So how do you tackle that? Overcome the skepticism, build real commitment to these 1-minute techniques.
You're right to raise it. It's often a hurdle. A big challenge is that initial skepticism. People hear 1 minute and think.
Superficial, insincere, like you're rushing important conversations.
Exactly. So overcoming that needs really thoughtful, transparent communication. You have to emphasize the intent. It's not about cutting corners.
It's about clarity, efficiency.
Clarity, mutual understanding, efficiency, respecting people's time, making interactions more focused and impactful, not less meaningful.
Okay, so communication is key. What are some concrete steps to get people genuinely on board?
Well, involvement from the start helps massively. Be transparent about why you're introducing it, what the hoped-for benefits are for everyone.
Address concerns head-on.
Absolutely. Those introductory sessions or workshops we mentioned, they're crucial here. Explain the how, illustrate the techniques, but also create space for questions, for dialogue.
Let people voice their doubts.
Yes. Make it feel collaborative, not just imposed from above.
And showing it works probably helps too, like real examples.
Hugely important. Abstract concepts are one thing, but practical, real-world examples. Success stories from other teams or organizations. That bridges the gap.
Look, Company X used 1-minute praising for customer service, and their satisfaction scores went up X%. That kind of thing.
Exactly. Tangible benefits make it much more compelling. It shows it's not just theory.
Any other strategies to build that commitment?
Finding internal champions can be really effective.
People already enthusiastic about it.
Yeah. Let them pilot the techniques in their teams, gather feedback, what's working, what needs tweaking, and then share their positive experiences. Peer-to-peer endorsement carries a lot of weight.
Makes sense. Okay, so let's say you've navigated that, got people implementing it. How do you make sure it sticks? How do you sustain success long-term?
Sustaining it requires ongoing focus. It's not a launch-and-leave initiative. The absolute bedrock is consistency.
There's that word again.
It keeps coming up because it's crucial. Goal setting, praising reprimands applied consistently by all managers, that builds predictability, trust, people know what to expect. Sporadic use kills it.
Okay, consistency first. What else?
Adaptability. The world changes, the business changes.
So the techniques might need tweaking.
Exactly. You need periodic reviews, get feedback from employees. How is this working for you? What needs adjustment? You stay true to the core principles, but maybe refine the application based on context and feedback. Keep it relevant.
And what about new managers joining the company? How do you get them up to speed?
Ongoing training and development. It has to be part of onboarding, but also regular refreshers for everyone.
Keeps the skills sharp, reinforces the culture.
Right. Workshops, maybe sharing best practices, discussing challenges. It keeps it alive and evolving.
It sounds like it needs to be more than just a management technique. It needs to become part of the company's DNA almost.
That's a great way to put it. Aligning these techniques with the broader organizational goals and values is key.
So it's not seen as separate, but as how we achieve our mission.
Precisely. When people see that link, clear goals, feedback, accountability, driving overall success, buy-in deepens, it becomes part of the ethos.
And I'm guessing leadership has a big role to play here.
Absolutely paramount. Senior leaders must model these behaviors consistently.
Can't be do as I say, not as I do.
Doesn't work. When top management uses one-minute techniques visibly, it sets the standard. It shows it's valued, expected. That top-down commitment is crucial for embedding it throughout the organization.
So long-term success hinges on consistency, adaptation, training, alignment, and leadership modeling.
That's the powerful combination. That's how you weave it into the fabric for sustained results.
Okay. So as we wrap up this deep dive, we've really explored the power and the practicality of the one-minute manager philosophy, especially through Lorber's lens.
Yeah, it boils down to those core tools. Concise goal setting, immediate and specific praise, timely and behavior-focused reprimands.
Seems simple, but it's a potent toolkit for effective, efficient management.
And what's striking is how these small one-minute interactions done consistently can add up to huge progress.
For individuals, for teams, for the whole organization.
Right, fostering clarity, motivation, accountability. It creates a much more dynamic and effective workplace.
Which leads us to our final thought for you, the listener. Consider this. How could even small, consistent tweaks to your own communication and feedback style, inspired by these ideas, unlock improvements in your interactions, your team dynamics?
Yeah, what's one small one-minute practice you could consciously try starting today?
Something to think about. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.